this will be part 3 in the series in regards to the US Supreme Court by Cass Gilbert, the home of the judicial branch of the US government, along with the executive in the White House and the legislative in the Capitol building. All contain this particular set of information. You can apply this to ancient sites as well. But so I have the outside. We'll just do a review of the earlier episodes, because what you have is especially information extracted from ancient systems of weights and measures, which gloriously connect to modern systems of weights and measures, which beautifully connect to the quadrivium, music, geometry, arithmetic, and astronomy. The same symbols connected through all these very important buildings, unlike some of the explanations given to this, for instance. Okay, anyway, that's something else. Some of the debunking is just extraordinarily poor. But anyway, what we have is a symphony of coincidence, just carries on, and it's all just, don't look here because there's nothing to see, and it's all just a coincidence. It's arbitrary measures, even though the arbitrary measures just miraculously tee up with natural cycles of time, and these bring us to beautiful proportions in maths as defined in nature as well, platonic solids. All these things, of course, are designed, built into the universe itself, and just that the ancients come across this is all just a coincidence and nothing to see here. And that certain esoteric groups are religious texts, again from the beginning of time, through the temples, written in stone, written in stories, carries through, something can be measured, accepted measures, even measures which might not be accepted, yet they curiously connect beautifully to this thing, and yet the people who researched and uncovered these other measures just so happen to harmonize with these other measures, such as Doric, Ionic, Longfoot, all of them, because they all come back to this. And of course, again, it's just an unending stream of coincidence, nothing to see here. So this is what we've shown before. Again, you can apply this to so many other points. I've lost count of how many. I've hundreds of videos, hundreds of sites, countless hours going into this, and good to see it's popping up in some other places, even though maybe they should. Either way, let's leave that to the side for the moment. So the US Supreme Court building by Cass Gilbert. We have the plaza on the outside, 252 feet. And we also will have a look at the, let's just call it the Holy of Holies, where the Supreme Court justices meet, which is, the centre of power within the centre of power, being 44 feet high. At the beginning I mentioned it's also 82 feet wide, 91 feet long, beautifully connects to a whole bunch of other stuff. But let's have a little bit of a look. So we've got on the left-hand side, you can see how 44 feet is a conversion point between Doric and Ionic, as many other things. 252 feet wide plaza, 176 feet. On the top there is a equal temperament music scale, and in the previous episode went into how this is built around that particular music scale, while the Capitol building is built around your... so this scale here, 440, US Capitol building, 432. But at 176, so the outside of the building, the plaza, as well as the inside, converts to 176. 1760 miles per yard. The mile, did a series on Hermetic history, especially around the era of Queen Elizabeth I, Edmund Gunter, and how all these were set in motion, which of course predates that by some time, but it's just a good point in history because of the tangible records. But 1760 yards per mile, that's 5,280 feet, which is a lovely connection to 528 feet per 32 rods. One rod is 16.5 feet, so therefore 2 rods is 33 feet, which is a whole bunch of other links to the House of the Temple in Washington, George Washington National Masonic Memorial, and again, ancient temples going back in time, places here, Australia, Canada, major cities of the world, including Astana. But 440, so there, 44, 440, 440 Egyptian royal cubits is the base of the Great Pyramid. The Great Pyramid is a textbook written in stone. The numbers are just, you call it coincidence if you want, if that helps you sleep. But the fact is, these measures all connect beautifully, perfectly, and to call it anything but the building was designed, it was measured, it's perfectly constructed, it's aligned, it has 8 sides which show up at the equinox. This was all done on purpose. The standard excuse is to say, well, it's just a coincidence that people at the beginning of time who had no libraries, had no experience, just happened upon all these beautiful mathematical proportions which were discovered by great mathematicians allegedly in the recent past. Well, yeah, it's just all a coincidence. But 528 and 440. The Great Pyramid, along with other ancient structures, are your keys. They understood in a short few years. You can see how a written word changes as where number and proportion is infinite and eternal, and by writing it in this way and by using geodesic earth-based measures, they've ensured that this ancient system of knowledge was passed on and that it can be rediscovered later on. And this is just really the surface, because what they're pointing at is something much deeper. But in regards to the number 528, well, New Jerusalem, which is a retelling of a story of the Epic of Gilgamesh from the Ark of Utnapishtim, but again, it points us towards the 32nd triangular number, coincidentally, and 33 pounds, 528 ounces, phi over pi is essentially a fraction of E over 5.28, and of course it describes the size of the Earth in the long scale. Which is also called the Persian foot and also called the Northern foot. And yeah, so if you're going to photocopy stuff, you should paste that information on as well. Grains. So at 44 foot, that's 1584 grains, and we're going to continuing with the topic of the quadrivium. We have Earth, Sun, and Moon. This continuing theme throughout all of this. Repeated it that many times, but still needs to be said. Earth, Sun and Moon are at the core of this. Astronomy, geometry, music and arithmetic, and how all these things combine. Just again, extraordinary set of coincidences, or that there is, through measurable, tangible evidence, that there is something that's being passed on. And because it involves some maths, it sort of, but anyway, if you don't look into maths, well, either way. So on that scale as well, 1320, well, 132. This in itself is another pointer to some, again, older scales of measure that have fallen out. The more we metricize ourselves and move away from the imperial, the more information and pointers have been lost to this. Without understanding imperial, you can't understand the, at least in this aspect, and I must repeat again, this is just one aspect of a much deeper. This is not the final solution answer. Sorry, this is just a point. This is telling you, here we are here, pay attention to us. And that's why weights and measures of ancient temples throughout time, how all these legends connect. It's only dogmatic fundamentalism can reject the notion of it, to say, well, it's, but either way, okay, so even 55, 550, how that connects, again, 10th triangular number once more, the Fibonacci numbers once more, triangular numbers and Fibonacci's being at the core of it, and they're pointing us to the 4th dimension, and this building in itself, 220 and 440, the answer's right there. It's also linked to 369, this mysterious number 369, it's a 4th dimensional number. Look in the 4th dimension and you will find what you're looking for. So the 10th triangular number 55, the 11th triangular number is 67. The way that triangular numbers work and harmonize together, and beautiful little connections that lead us to the 2nd dimension. Again, you need to think in multiple dimensions. The Great Pyramid, the researchers look at it in 2-dimensional only, even though it's a 3-dimensional object, so you're never going to get the 4-dimensional connections from it unless you need to do that. And again, yeah. But so, well, 660 again, once in there, this is one of these standard measurements, the Gunther's chain. And why is 66 so important? Well, it is, there's a fascination towards 108, 216, 432, 864. They're beautiful numbers, excellent numbers, but they're the outer skin of the onion. You need to go down further and further, and you're going to get to 66 and 792, and that will point you to other places. But why 66? Earth, Sun and Moon. The canonical cubit. ionic scale, the long scale, even the weight of the Earth, even the speed of the Earth in miles per hour as it goes around the sun, even the solar system in its cycle as it, and that's based on the best available current information in time that may point somewhere else. But for the moment, 66 million years shows this cycle of the solar system moving around the galactic core, and of course the Gunter's chain, 66 feet. Edmund Gunter, the cross staff, Astrolabs, and all these things. These guys, back in then, were the Renaissance, rediscovering ancient knowledge, encoding it in our modern weights and measures so that it will not be forgotten. Especially consider that time, the Inquisition and the mob mentality, which still permeates us to this day. And unfortunately, we have a fascination for long streams of decimal numbers and decimal points, and you get out of school and you don't remember anything. And yet this is called kooky. And with this particular method, imagine if children learnt this method earlier, and how much knowledge they could achieve in such a short time, memorize it, be able to it becomes innate. And yet the education system, you come out the end and you really don't know anything. Sun, Earth and Moon, geometry, arithmetic, astronomy and music, the information, the knowledge passed on by the cathedral builder stonemasons, which led to the Rosicrucians and these types of groups. But again, unfortunately, any sort of symbol, it's just immediately painted as either some sort of weirdo mystic kookiness, or on the other side it's satanic, or some, again, equally ridiculous explanation given to deny it. And it's just, there's a pathology in regards to this. Like, you can measure this, you can test it, it's there, and again, for some reason, it's just not acceptable. But anyway, so very brief one, considering regular videos as well, but just added another layer of information to this, and you can just keep peeling this onion, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And with that, hope you enjoyed. Have a good one. There's a lot more to come.